We're live. Hello. So you want to go plant-based, right? You're here, you want to go plant-based. Perhaps you've tried everything. You've read all the books, you've watched the YouTubers, you've cleaned out the pantry, stocked it all with all the things, but you are still pulled back to the old habits. Today, I'm here to shift that thinking. I'm going to share a different approach, and it's all about thinking plant-based. Welcome to the Veg Inspired Live, where I share quick micro trainings of tips, hacks, and lifestyle habits to help you be or become a plant-based eater. Now, real quick before I dive in, I'm a real person. I travel full-time in a fifth wheel RV with my husband, John, and our cat, Eddie. I've been an ethical vegan for over 9 years, but in 2019, I was faced with a health decision. Continue what I was doing, eating all the processed, yummy, fatty vegan junk food, and end up on pills, testing positive for type 2 diabetes, having all the markers, or I could change what I was doing. I could take control of my health through a lifestyle change with the foods that I eat. Well, I'm here to tell you, I chose the latter. I shifted my vegan way of eating to a cleaner, more whole food, plant-based lifestyle. I adopted daily habits that led to easy, fun, plant-based living, which has given me increased energy, better moods, happiness, over 50 pounds of weight lost and maintained, reversal of all the symptoms of prediabetes. And in the process, I authored 3 cookbooks and launched an incredible international veg-inspired coaching business that has allowed me to take the methods and the strategies and the tips and all of the living secrets that I've done and implemented myself to make plant-based eating my new normal. And that's what I teach others to do. So I'm super excited to be here and share with you today the secret. And it shouldn't be a secret. This should be what we're shouting from the rooftops. But it's all about how to shift to plant-based eating or whole food plant-based eating that's easier for you. Awesome. All right. Let me know where you're tuning into, and let me know you're here and you're live, and we will just keep going. Hopefully I'm live for all of you. Let me know you're here. Let me know you're tuning in the comments, and let's get into today's session. Okay. So whether you're live, whether you're watching the replay, drop some comments in the chat. I always invite you to participate in this, whether it's you're live or whether you're not. Okay. So it's our last day today in the red desert of Utah, but where are you turning in from? Where are you calling in from? Let me know. Where are you watching live? And let's keep this moving. Okay. So you're probably sitting there thinking, all right, Kathy, get to the juicy part, right? Like you told us on Facebook, in the Facebook group, that it was going to be juicy. Get to the juiciness. Spill the tea, spill the juiciness. What is this big secret that people aren't telling you? Why is reading the books not working? Why is watching the YouTubers not working? Why is buying the special ingredients and the special gadgets and the you must have this to be plant-based BS not working? Why is cleaning out my pantry not working for me? Why, when I did all those things and watched all those things and did everything, is it not working? Well, here's the secret. Are you ready? Are you on the edge of your seat? It's because you've done amazing at tackling all of the doing, all of the tactical, all of the doing parts of plant-based. And honestly, way to freaking go, because that step can be hard for so many of us, right? We kind of put that off, kind of push it to the back burner. We fill our time with other things, right? But what you haven't tackled yet is the thinking. You haven't tackled the being part of plant-based. And here's the secret. 80% of that lifestyle change is found in how we think. Let me say that again. 80% of our plant-based lifestyle change is found in how we think about plant-based eating, how we feel about plant-based eating. That's the secret, my friends. That's the secret. Now I have a special program launching the week of September 10th to help you become plant-based. It's actually called Becoming Plant-Based. So if you want to learn more about that and apply, because it's application only, comment become in the comments, in the chat, show links, and I'll share the link. So what does it mean to think plant-based? What does this becoming plant-based mean? What are you talking about, Kathy? Well, for starters, it's actually about uncovering where you are and where you are with your thinking around plant-based eating right now. So When you wake up in the morning, are you excited to eat plant-based? Are you excited of the plethora of nutrient dense and colorful foods that you get to use, that you get to eat, that you get to cook with? Or does plant-based feel like a chore? Let that sit for a minute. Let me know if this lands for you. Maybe you see people, you hear people telling you to push through that feeling. It doesn't matter if it feels like a chore. Hustle, hustle, hustle. Get the grit. Discipline your way through it. But guess what happens? If that feels more like a chore, that discipline, that push, that grit leads to shame, leads to frustration, leads to anger, leads to guilt because maybe you feel like you're not able to push through it. Right? Does that resonate with you? Do you find yourself pushing harder and feeling even worse when you go off track or fall out of alignment with your eating goals? Let that land for a minute. What about grocery shopping or meal planning? Does it excite you to go to the market and pick up all the colorful fresh veggies and fruits and greens, or is that drudgery that you have to do? Think about that. What about preparing the foods and the meals? Do you love it? Or is it overwhelming, frustrating, time consuming? You see, we have a choice in how we feel, but until we uncover why we feel that way, until we really look into ourselves and say, wait, I feel this drudgery because I'm cooking 2 meals. I feel this frustration around plant based eating because I actually miss the foods that I used to eat. I feel this shitty feeling, pardon my French, sorry, YouTube, you can bleep that out, but I feel this ick around plant based because it doesn't feel aligned with me. You see, how we think really matters when we embark on any lifestyle change, especially a change with food. Because guess what? Food comes into our life 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, a dozen times a day. We're always faced with food decisions, whether it's buying the food at the grocery store, going into the gas station. Do we people go into the gas station to pay for gas anymore? Like going in and seeing all these food options, right? Standing in line at the grocery store. You've got all these candies and junk foods, right? How we think about food, how we think about plant-based eating, how we think about ourselves in this journey, it matters. Perhaps you're sitting there and you're thinking, yeah, I do. I do think plant-based is different. I want to go back to my old normal. I don't want to be different. Right? So you're thinking of plant-based as something that you have to do. You might find yourself in the I just wish it would be normal. I just want to go back to normal. Is that what it feels like for you? Does that resonate? If you have any of these thoughts, becoming plant-based, our program starting on September 10th is for you. Because in this program, we're going to dig into the thinking behind the shift required to make plant-based a way of living. I talk about in that program that many people want to just put on the costume of plant-based, but they're not actually embodying living as a plant-based human. It's a different energy. It's a shift in thinking. So apply today because it would be my honor to work with you and help you become plant-based. You can comment become and we'll get you that link to apply. But here's the thing. Here's a starting point. Here's a where are you right now? Maybe you're sitting there and you're like, I want to be plant-based, but nothing seems to work. Okay. You know what? That's a freaking beautiful place to be because you're aware. You're aware that what you've tried in the past hasn't worked. And there is this quote that says, the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result. So I invite you to try something different. I invite you to shut off all the YouTubers that you're watching, put away all the books of the frameworks, and I invite you to just answer these questions. So if you're watching this and you're like, I don't know about becoming plant-based as an option, but I want to get started in this shifting and thinking. This is what I want you to do. I want you to spend some time answering these 2 questions. And I'm going to repeat them a few times so that if you are watching this, you can grab a pen and paper and you can write them down. But you can always come back to this. I'm about 11 minutes into this video, 10 minutes into this video. You can come back to this and you can just zip right through the video to these questions. This is the starting point of changing your thinking around plant-based eating. I am not telling you to buy gadgets. I am not telling you to buy special foods. I am not telling you to rip everything out of your pantry. I am telling you to shift the way you think. Stop listening to the YouTubers. Put the blinders on and answer these two questions. Question number one, what does plant-based living look like to me? What does plant-based living look like to me? Not what does YouTuber so and so say it needs to be. Not what does this doctor say it needs to be. Not what do these 5 doctors all combined together into one chaotic mess say it needs to be. But when I sit down and I think about what I want plant-based living to look like, what does plant-based living look like to me? And then question number 2, what does living plant-based feel like for me? What does it feel like for me? You see, so many times we get caught up in, I've got to do it this way and I've got to make these recipes and it's got to be complicated AF. And guess what? It doesn't need to be complicated. You have to define it. And that's what we work on in becoming plant based. We define it for you. You define it for you. So here you are, you're starting. You want to shift from this is the way it has to be to this is how I feel it looking for me. So the two questions I want you to start with, what does plant-based living look like to me? And how does living plant-based feel like for me? Now, when I think of those two questions, I want you to spend time. I want you to dig in deep to those answers, those definitions for you. I want you to let your mind wander. Maybe let your mind and your intellect take a break. Imagine, dream, let your heart speak. What does plant based living look like for you? What does it feel like for you? Now, for me, when those questions come into my mind, when those questions come into my heart, a couple of things come to me. Plant-based living to me is confidence. It is a breath of fresh air for me. It is empowerment. And for me, plant-based living feels colorful. It wasn't always that way. But I remember sitting down and I remember thinking, what does plant-based living feel like to me? When I was embarking on whole food, plant-based, mostly unprocessed journey starting in 2019, for me, it was about energy. It was about empowerment. It was about being in control of my choices around food. That's not what the YouTubers are telling you. They're telling you to go buy Nooch, buy this special vinegar, buy this special kitchen gadget. I want you to go into your heart. That's the secret. Because becoming plant-based, truly becoming the plant-based version of you, 80% of that is how you think. Because it's your image of yourself. It's the identity that you have. And so many of us want plant-based to be the silo, the separation of us. But plant-based is who we are. It's who we are. So, what does plant-based living look like to you? And how does living plant-based feel like for you? Now, if you feel comfortable, you want to pop back in, drop it in the chat, drop it in the comments, make a post about it in the plant-based women's community with VegInspired. Like, really embrace these answers. And if you want this true shift, this guided shift, apply to be part of our program, Becoming Plant-Based, that's starting on September 10th. Now, it is application only, and I only have 20 spots available because I really want to be there for you and hold this space as we all grow together. So becoming. I'll drop the link in the chat, but if you're really interested, just comment become, and I'll send you the link directly. But I want to thank you. I want to thank you for showing up here, whether you're live or whether you're on the replay. I want to thank you for taking the time to shift the way that you think and truly become that plant-based version of you. Because that's what's going to grow this movement. That's what's going to grow this energy around plant-based living. So thank you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being here. This is one of my favorite parts of the week is to really be here and show up and hold space for you as you make this transition because I didn't have this when I made the transition. I was doing it all on my own. So we're here to accelerate those results for you and really get you moving in that direction of living plant-based. So thank you for being here. I will see you when I see you, and hopefully I will get to work with you. It would be my honor to work with you in the Becoming Plant-Based program starting September 10th. Apply today. Bye, everybody.